YouTube, Liger Dancer is back, or is she? Well, in the top 8 of the Meta Weekly Mate plus Grand Finale and Top Deck, we're starting off with Luna Light at the bottom, where we have Raziel Mitsurugi at the top. In any meta where a single summon of the Liger Dancer is going to be winning, then that's where this meta would be good, right? Well, unfortunately, that's not the case against Raziel. And also not against Malice. Malice and Raziel could very easily deal with the Liger Dancer, as they have ways to boost up their monster to be bigger than the Liger Dancer through something like Dugaris, and also they have destruction protection from the Liger Dancer, destroying them through, let's say, the Light Dragon Ignister, or even built into the Raziel Detonator itself. Is Gargolo going to know the best ways to deal with Liger Dancer, or maybe he's unfamiliar with the matchup? If that's the case, then we could still win with Luna Light if this is the deck that you're rooting for. And mind you, I'm going to remind you, this Thursday on twitch.tv/Decade, we're going to have the new pack that should have Yummy in it, which should be the new best deck, better than Draco Tail, since it's going to counter Draco Tail. And if Malice has a good matchup against Draco Tail, and that's why people are playing it, then also the usage of Malice will be dropping. So we're going to have to find out what's the best way to deal with the new best deck this Thursday, and I'll see you there. With that said, by watching as long as you can, that greatly supports these events. Hajime.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
We have Masquerade, Foolish Barreling, a monster from the deck, which will be the Hound. Hound will trigger to summon for the deck. Veiler, Imperm, Gold Leo. That in many cases is enough to completely stop them. Is that going to be the case here? Well, Gold Leo negated, and it was. There you go. Just negate Gold Leo. Don't Ash it. You want a Veiler. You want to negate the card, not the effect. By negating the card, you negate the multiple effects. Ash negate the 7th Tachyon Mate. That's going to be a hard cope. We're going to be maxing on the resolution before the inherently normal, just normal summoning sword, that is. Special summoning extra Raziel as we finally get to draw. Duo Drive is here, giving them a second draw under the Max C. Attach from Engrave. Duo Detach to now search for an Ice Raziel. We already committed to the normal summon. As we now activate the cross and on resolution, just like that, we now can negate any monster effect. We have nothing activatable yet, but they are ready. And because they're ready, they're going to be very likely pushing for lethal damage here. Add the Mitsurugi Ritual. I mean, Gargolo knows that if he does not win this turn, then he will very likely lose the entire duel, because the Liger Dancers will be coming out, Raigeking up the entire field and attacking multiple times. Sword Serpent, Reborn, still nothing good. Ritual tributing off Habakiri to summon Murakumo. Murakumo has the optional effect to wipe out the Gold Leo. We're going to leave it up on the field. To battle we go. 9,000 damage, and just like that, Heavy Polymerization is a 1-card win play when going second. Lethal damage. Let's hop into game 2. We are going to use Fractal to send the Hound to summon for the deck. In response, we have Fua loss. Well, let's finger the Fua. Not today? Okay, fine. I'll Max C instead. Call by the Grave, now limited to 1. Let's resolve it up. And now we have Chick, Black Sheep searching for our Polymerization. Gold Leo searching for the Martin. Martin send. Trigger searching for the Masquerade to further Foolish Barrel if we want to. We're going to use the Chick to send the Leo Dancer. Send the Wolf to add back with the effect of the Gold Leo. As we now Wolf with the ability to fuse with the Field or Grave. Here comes Liger Dancer number 1, and 1 and done. That's it. We're under the effect of Max C. Now with the Liger Dancer, we can non-target Raigeki the field of only special summon monsters. And in Grave, we have the Silver Hound, which is not activatable. We need to have another Luna Light Fusion in Grave in order to negate the activation of a spell and trap. So until there's something to Raigeki, which would then enable the Silver Hound, we just have 1 disruption. 1 to 2. We'll just count it up. Star Raziel didn't activate since we already have Cross, and now we have the spell card negate. Now, we want to know the ruling on Silverhound versus Cross. How does this work? Silverhound, when a spell, trap card, or effect is activated, you banish this and a Lunalight to negate the activation. So you do want to negate the activation of the continuous spell or the field spell because it will then go to the graveyard. Unfortunately, she's now going to get fingered. Goodbye to the Silverhound. Negate and banished. We're done. That's it. 3,800, unaffected by everything, but can be destroyed by battle. So how do we destroy it by battle? Very simply, it's going to be Dugaris Baboost. If we don't have a Veiler for Dugaris, but then they have Cross to negate the Veiler, what can we do? Let's speed this up. Ritual, tribute from the deck, summon the Hobbit Carrier from the hand. Kusanagi, add back the Ritual, Serpent Reborn back. Ritual, summon the Murakumo from the deck, which cannot wipe out the Liger Dancer. Abakiri, search for prayers, Reborn back. As we now make Dugaris. Dugaris, double up the attack of the Murakumo with over 13,000 damage on the field. Say goodbye to the Liger Dancer and goodbye to your life points. That's that. That's it. I know it sucks. You're under Maxi or you're under Fool Loss. You can't end on one Liger, even under Maxi or Fool Loss. But what if they draw into a hand trap to stop my second Liger as I'm trying to make it because I'm under the effect of Maxi? Well, you're going to lose anyway because all they have to do is make a Dugaris. You have to try to get that second Liger out. It's brute force no matter what. They can have 20 cards in their hand, sure, but you have to get 2 Ligers out to even have a chance. Game 1, begin. Lulu, we just have Ash. And, you know, if it's not for the randomly drawn Branded Fusion, we do want to Ash a Rahu, potentially. Ideally, it is the Branded Fusion, but that's something you can't account for. This is why it's so disgusting for those that play it to randomly benefit from it. Key 2, add what? We are not ashing? Well, the other benefit of Ash is to just save it for a trap. If we don't want them to Sting, Flame, or okay, he really saved Ash for Rahu instead of Branded Fusion. Is that correct? Branded Fusion triggers and gets a Albion Sanctifier out. Albion Sanctifier is untargetable. It's going to be able to summon an Albaz to fuse with an extra deck monster to go into a Mirror Gate to the non-target monster banish you. I don't know if that's it, mate. And, you know, yeah, okay, let's see how this works out. Poseidra, sending away the Deep Sea King to on-summon, send Dragoons to bounce away the Arthalion. We're going to, in response, Femina, as... What do you think happens here? Dragoons is sent to the graveyard to search our deck. If the Albion Sanctifier steals it, does it have Albion in its name? Did I just make that up? It does. See, I'm sick. I'm out of my mind. If you steal the Dragoons out of the graveyard, it doesn't activate. No search for you, mate. I don't have to Ash it. Yoink it out. It's like a DD Crow. If you DD Crow before it activates, got him. So that has now been thwarted. We now have Mysterion, which is going to be very interesting. If a Sea Serpent summons a Sea Serpent, so is that what's happening right now? Abyss Shrine's an Aqua. If she summons an Aqua, then Mysterion's going to banish the Aqua. Or Ash will just negate. Not today, mate. Now, ideally, the Abyss Shrine is summoning the Super Ancient Deep Sea King, but it's only summonable from the deck. We're going to add the squad, Abyss Pike, send the squad. Now, squad is Sea Serpent. If we summon a Sea Serpent, we're in trouble. Well, Lulu's going to chain fuse in response. It can only summon a Sea Serpent, right? That's what it do. I believe there's only Sea Serpent. That's a Sea Serpent. Now, I'm going to banish Dragoons, and I'm going to banish Poseidra. I'll leave the Abyss Pike, that could stay. Banish it away. Well, let's return the Pike back to the hand, actually. I lied. I'm not allowing you to keep the Pike. Please don't surrender. Let's let this resolve. Urgula set, no backward to pop. Brixel set for a follow-up play. Look at the follow-up we got, mate. Return the pike back and banish the whole field. Wipe it. Minstrel is going to send the Prince, which could trigger to reborn a monster from Engrave. Dragoons is back. Welcome back, Dragoons. Taking out that Malulu. All right. Great duel. We went second. All right. Most decks, most normal decks, they don't do too well going second. Even though Mermaid Atlantean does have really good go second plays, as we saw with Poseidra, that is something that definitely benefits from going second, having a card in field to target to return back and trigger something from the deck. But, I would like to think that maybe if we ashed the Branded Fusion and they didn't have the Sanctifier to turn off our Dragoons, that we would have had a better chance. Let's see what happens when we go first. If we could rip away their hand, let's do it. Abyss Shrine, summon from the deck or search. We have the Ice Jade Ran to our hand. Dragoons is activating a search, but the Drone Lockbird will disallow them from further searching. Droll is the silver bullet for this deck. It shuts them down completely. Why is Ricky on Branded Fusion and Droll? How does he have room for that nonsense? Ain't no freaking way. Abyss Lacia is going to be discarding a search for nothing. Negate. And we do have Impulse. Impulse is all we have left. All right. Lukey is searching for the Femina. We could Impulse that. So you do want to be thinking, if you're a Dracotail player, if you already have Femina, think about shotgunning the Femina early if you're playing against a deck that plays Impulse. Because Impulse requires for them to have a card in the field to even be activatable to negate the Femina. Horn on the attack. Return back nothing as the newly top-decked Ash negates. No return, no draw for you, mate. Now, Abyss Lacia is purposely destroying herself to search the deck, right? Wait, what? No, what does she do? If destroyed, you could send a water from your deck to the graveyard, then target a water in your graveyard, special summon it. If this owner's possession destroyed by an opponent's attack, an opponent's attack. It's not. The opponent didn't attack. You attacked. The opponent has to attack. So, yeah, they made sure you couldn't do that. But what else could we have done? Nothing. Speed, Roid, Malice. We have seen Mitsurugi Malice. And now we're going to see the Speed Roid play. Cherubini is here, is going to send from the deck to the graveyard by cost the Dormouse. As we're now going to White Rabbit, set up TB11. Let's link this up into our White Binder. White Binder is going to be banishing the Dormouse and White Rabbit. Let's resolve this all up. We're trying to think when we want to Ash. Well, if they banish the Binder and they do not chain link block it, that would be the opportunity to get the effect. We're going to be summoning our Thalion to return back the Wicked before it can search the deck, and also preventing it from triggering the Dormouse or the White Binder. So this definitely is a good moment to whip out our Thalion play to completely mess them up. We held on to that Ash. Let's freaking go. Let's Ash it up. Ash negate the White Binder. Help me, stepbrother, I'm stuck. And what we have here is we have the ability to non-target banish and non-target banish. If you want to consider banishing from the graveyard, we do have Druid Swarm. We also have White Binder. So that would be at least 4 forms of disruption. We're going to TB11 chain GWC. Come forth. As we're using our Thalion to add back the Lukis. Now, adding back the Ash, that does negate the ability to use the MTP. So that definitely is a good option here to turn off one of their forms of disruption here, the double banish. White Binder is going to be chain banishing. Now, I do want to pause for a second to note that we could have stopped them from adding back the Ash. And the way to do that is in response to their fusion summon. In response to Key 2 Draco Tail, we had to chain GWC to summon the White Binder. I'm not saying we should have done this, but if we wanted to, what would happen is on a new chain link, the Arthalion is chain link 1 targeting the Ash, and then the White Binder is chain link 2 higher, or any of the higher chain links to target the Ash that's being targeted to banish it in response to targeting our own White Binder, our own White Rabbit, to then set up the MTP to not be negated by the Ash. If that's what we wanted to do. Cryptor. And that's all contingent on, okay, they're chaining White Binder summon to the Key 2. Maybe I don't commit to my Arthalion summon because they're going to banish away the Ash. But if they banish away the Ash and we don't even summon Arthalion, then we later can't add the Ash back anyway. Clean up the field. The Cryptor already non-target banished. We now have our own Secretarion Dragon, triggering the effect of Lucius to send to the back row the Rahu Draco Tail. Did we even have White Rabbit to banish? We didn't even have White Rabbit in circulation to set up the MTP. What the heck? Come forth, Arthalion. Little Knight banishing away the Cryptor, which is already banished this turn. Thus, she's now stuck banished. We're going to be sending the Pan. Pan will be triggering to wipe away the Access Code Talker or Druid Swarm. Let's set up the Horn. Destroy the Access Code Talker, ending our turn. Cartesia add back. We have Little Knight banish, Horn return back, and Gulamel pop a card in the field. Triple disruption. Wizard, change the battle position of the Gulamel. Okay, I will chain Little Knight to banish your Druid Swarm. Double disrupt. That's probably because we wanted to just battle over the Gulamel. Okay, and just like that, back to us. To battle we go. Damage step, send Gulamel or Little Knight. 60 in the face, of course, not enough to end this duel. It's main phase 2 into the cross sheet. Trigger the Gulamel and Arthalion to reborn back. Chain Maxi in response. Ooh, we get the draw 2 off of you. Cross sheet trigger. Wow, we're committing in main phase 2 under Max C. Are you out of your damn mind? Cartesia add back. And now we have 4 cards in hand. Let's freaking go. Red Reboot to stop the Horn. White Rabbit in response to setting a trap. We're going to Little Knight banish you away, which then comes back. Okay. Set the MTP. Trigger the White Rabbit into defense so the Horn cannot return it back. MTP further banishing it to grab the March Hare. March Hare banishing from Engrave the White Binder. Now, White Binder should have many cards to banish in our grave, right? We have the Dormouse, we have March Hare, the Cryptor is stuck banished. We're going to use Horn to return back the Lucius, to draw a card, and not only draw a card, but what does the Horn do? Because this is quite interesting. We're using Horn to stop the Finger. The Finger is trying to finger Femina. The Horn is going to place the Femina to the bottom of the deck so that she does not get fingered. Well, understanding that fact, we're going to Red Reboot to negate the Horn mate. Negate it. Your Femina will be fingered. Negate and banish. I can't believe Jaime is now having a chance to win this match. He had nothing. That Maxi randomly drew 3. What the heck? Ooh, what happened? What happened? We tried to Veiler Binder. Now in the TCG, you get to take it back because you're a little wussy and you're going to call the judge and say it was an illegal activation. You can't Veiler something that's untargetable. And they're going to be like, you're right, take that card back, Timmy. But in Master Duel, March Hare makes the White Binder untargetable, and it was a legal activation because you're forced to activate it onto March Hare. Negate the wrong card. Banish away from either player's graveyard. Chessie come back. What does Chessie do? Does it give it like piercing battle damage? Something silly, right? No, when you destroy a monster by battle, it gets banished instead. Okay. Binder set up the GWC. flip up the banish away the March Hare, and Cryptor is back in business. Damn, we're also gaining life points. We're back at 4,000. We got an Allied Code Talker, Ignister. Crazy comeback is going on here. We're going to tribute off the Cryptor to negate. You don't have to on summon activates effect that would prevent you from further summoning for the rest of the turn. Negate and banish. Let's now. Wait, we were activating in response. We were on summon activating. There we go. It's all freaking back. And now we cannot summon for the rest of the turn, but we have a great field. We don't need to summon for the rest of the turn. Wipe away not one but two cards. To battle we go. Oh my Jesus. What the heck happened this duel? That Max C draw 3 changed everything. Insane. All right. We have Impulse. We did not want to Impulse the Cartesia. Now, we got to be careful on impulsing. If we want to commit to using Impulse, we can't Terror Top. This is it. Special the Terror Top, searching for the Take Tomborg. Droll and Lockbird, no more adding for the rest of the turn. Now, Droll also inadvertently turns off your traps. You now cannot activate them. Or no, you can actually. You still can. It's optional. It is optional. Correction. We're going to return back to the Terror Top, but what did I say? It could still special summon. But it's okay. We wanted to Malulu. But is it okay? Should we have saved the Heavenly Sphere for something else instead? Gulamel in response to our Arthalion Reborning, taking out the Cherubini. Now, Cherubini could have not been destroyed. Cherubini, there's multiple nuanced things about this card. One is the Feats out. I didn't know that. That's interesting. The other thing is a spell speed one, so it's not quick. And if the opponent has an ability to destroy this, you could stop it from being destroyed. If this card would be destroyed, you could send one other card you control to the graveyard instead. So what you would have to do is you'd have to set the Impulse or set the Red Reboot. You probably don't want to set the Red Reboot. You may not even want to set the Impulse, but if you did preemptively set it, you would have been able to send the Impulse to protect this card from being destroyed instead. Special Summon Terror Top for what, the third time here, as we now have Lingaribo to pin the back row. Malulu is going to fuse this up into Arthalion. Arthalion target the Lingaribo to return back. Pan is also going to non-target destroy a card in the field. Malulu will also non-target negate a monster. Set up the Kitu. Negate the Terror Top, which is doing nothing. Destroy that Terror Top, return back the Lingaribo, and just like that, we win it. All right. Let's go. Normal Fua. Before it turns into an Almirage, we want to hit them with the Fua loss. March Hare, banish March Hare, add back the March Hare. And now we could go into a lot of special summoning. Now, thankfully, it's not a Max C. It's just a Fua loss, so they do get to draw two, but they just drew into a freaking Veiler. What the heck was that? Wow. Not cool. Newly top-decked Veiler to negate the Splash Mage, ending on nothing. Uh-oh. Well, with them having nothing, we have to take advantage of this, and we're going for a triple fusion summon play. Arthalion targeting up to 3 cards engraved back to our hand. Lucius triggering. Urgula's going to take out the back row. Pan's going to take out the monster. MTP's going to search for a Dormouse. Kitu, Horn, and Flame. We got the Rahu already in our hand here. Cycle back everything. Kitu on resolution, being able to fuse since you have a Splash Mage on field. We have Mysterion, which is so good against Malice. If Dormouse is banished and it comes back onto the field, you banish the Dormouse back again, and any other Cybers also on the field only get banished. March Hare, summoned March Hare, thus the Mysterion's going to banish the March Hare. March Hare is going to add back to the hand here. There's no, and also the Splash Mage gets banished in addition to the March Hare, completely opening up the field. Drew a Swarm, summoning Drew a Swarm, but we already activated the effect of the Mysterion, thus it cannot activate again. Let's send away the Mysterion, as we do not have enough for lethal damage, but boy, do we have a lot of disruption. We have Fuse, destroy a monster, negate a monster, banish from the grave, return a monster back, negate a spell, pop of the Gulamel, at least 7 forms potentially of disruption. Return back, March Hare is going to banish the Dormouse. Dormouse come back into defense. Femina is now going to fuse to return them back. Also pop of the Gulamel. Way too much to deal with. This is it. Philia Regis has the quick effect during the main phase to target any card on the field and banish it. Nothing worth banishing. To battle we go. GWC attempt to reborn back successfully the Dormouse. Big enough to take it out by battle, thus lethal damage. Good job to both of you. Game 1 was crazy, but then Draco Tail swept up game 2 and 3. Let's hop into another one. Begin. Wait a second, that's not a spell to fusion summon. What the heck? Pan and Lucius will surely be searching for a spell that we could chain Retaliating Sea to. Normal summon the Ice Ryzeal, special summon to Star, setting up the Ryzeal Cross. We have Horn, which is ready. Special the Sword, searching for the Ice Ryzeal. 7 Tachyon, further searching our deck for the Gaga Ganbara Knight to now hit them with the Droll. Can't Droll. Why can't we Droll? He forgot to Droll. This card has to be sent to the graveyard. Send this to the graveyard. Retaliating Sea says, you cannot send cards to the grave. They get banished instead, so it would be illegal. Ganbara, so Retaliating Sea protects you from Droll. That's crazy. Tornado Dragon. Wipe away the Horn. Let's flip it up. Return the Duo Drive back. Now, the ideal use of the Horn is in response to the hard once per turn activation to search the deck. They waste the hard once per turn, you return it back, they search for nothing because the resolution of the effect is to detach to search, not by cost. So that's why we were really holding onto the Horn. We are waiting, and we now force it out Tornado Dragon. Now, Retaliating Sea does go both ways, and what that means is our own X Ryzeal cannot send an Xyz to the graveyard to special summon, thus it has to be normal summon, but it can't be normal summon because we already used up our normal summon. So we stop Droll, but we also stop our own X Ryzeal to resummon back a Duo Drive. That's going to be an issue. But Ganbara Knight's going to search for a Goblin Badurg. I don't know if that has a way to special summon. Fusing with Cartesia for our Thalion. We can't trigger the Femina. We're going to return back. Now we can X-Rise. Thank you. I needed you to do that. Aggregate is going to negate the Cartesia just temporarily, even though it already fused this turn. Grab the Node, which is special summonable, as we now hit them with the Droll and Lockbird. I think it helped more than hurt by returning back the Retaliating Sea. Right? Were we not out of plays? Ryzeal Detonate will be attached in the Aggregate. We're going to be detaching material to protect ourselves from destruction. You can pop, and negate a face-up card. And we also have Retaliating Sea. 5 forms of disruption. Ryzeal Detonate, detach to take out the Arthalion. We could optionally use the Cross to additionally negate by losing a pop. And we do it. And we do have Aggregator to further try to negate the Cartesia, which will just force out the activation early. We're going to detonate, detach, and just like that, we just have Retaliating Sea. It's our only form of disruption. Take out the Lucius, and the Mad Lad is not able to make a Draco Tail fusion. So it requires a Draco Tail plus another monster in hand, as we have our Thalion and Pan triggering to destroy the detonate as we also reborn for extra damage on the field. Retaliating Sea can respond to a Kitu or a Rahu Draco Tail. Secretarion is going to reborn a super thick Pan. Pan at 2,700? Why is it so large? The attack and defense of Pan and Urgula should definitely be switched. What the heck? Nuts. Big boy on field. Let's hop into game 2. Double red reboot. Begin. Badurg and 7 Tachyon. Ash. We cope, that's enough, but it's absolutely not. Holy. Neither player could special summon except fire monsters. Remember when fire was top tier? Fire now sucks. I don't want to special summon fire. We lose. What the? Oh my gosh. Can we even target it for an attack? Doesn't that the thing, it protects you. Oh my gosh. Where is it? So you have a barrier statue plus this. The opponent's monsters cannot target monsters for attacks except this one. So you can't attack into the barrier statue. Okay, I have impermanence. I imperm the barrier statue. Well, your opponent cannot target other cards with card effects. So I guess you imperm this and then you can attack into the barrier statue. Oh boy. Imperm, negate, Lucius, mate. Chain Femina to dodge the impermanence. Now, red reboot should be all that we need to stop whatever they set up. It does not matter. We're going to clap them up. You're going to need the bulk of your disruptions to be in your hand and on the field as monsters. Is red reboot the ultimate game over card against Draco Tail? Is it possible to still win? Rahu into Gulamel. We at least have Valor, Femina, Pan, Gulamel. So it does look like we have enough to still win through a red reboot. Definitely. So what we lose here is we can't draw 2, we can't banish, we can't negate a spell, but what we could still do is negate a monster, pop a card on the field, return multiple cards on the field or graveyard back to the hand, destroy a monster with a Pan. We still have 4 disruption, even though the red reboot is devastating. Send the Go-Go Glove. We're going to attempt to reborn the glove, and now we're going to whip out the red reboot. Negate, mate, flip it back down, set another trap from the deck, but now the pressure's on. We have to win this turn, or they get an additional trap to use for the very next turn. With our 4 forms of disruption, we have Gaga Girl. This is activating to search, but we're going to just Valor. Negate, not a problem, mate. This was not a quick effect nor trigger, but we still wanted to use Valor on it. Due to Warrior searching for the coat, coat's going to be special summoning itself, as we now special summon Kage alongside it, further going into Duo Drive. Duo Drive is, again, a slow card, spell speed 1. So if we just deal with it right here, right now, or I mean, we could have waited for its activation. Goodbye to Duo. We do have the follow-up with 7 Tachyon. They now have the Phileas Regis to banish a card in the field. Boy. Red reboot definitely was not enough. We're going to recycle back the Duo Drive and the Gaga Girl, and then cope on 7th Tachyon, the final play, the X-Ryzeal. This is the way. 1 card, 1 play, send the aggregate, activate X-Ryzeal, negate the Regis. Regis will now banish away the X-Ryzeal. This is devastating. Well, we could still normal summon Sword, right? Because we're not going to have a Ryzeal for Sword to special summon. Come to a Sword and normal it. Normal Sword means that Ice cannot be normal summoned. By banishing X-Ryzeal, you condemned the Ice Ryzeal to not even being summonable. We end. It's it. Well, we tried. Red Reboot is not enough of a silver bullet to auto-win the duel. It's not like we had Red Reboot and no other play. We Red Rebooted and had multiple plays. They just had so much disruption in addition to their traps. Damn. Draco Tail really is it. Until Yummy comes out this week. If you are a Draco Tail player, what is your plan? What are you planning this week? Are you ready for Yummy? Are you going to change your deck to deal with Yummy? Are you just going to, wing it and see what happens? Do you have an out ready for Herald of Arclight that you're going to be main decking this come Thursday? I'm quite interested to see if Draco Tail players will prevail. If they, they stick with their deck, they just try to brute force it. Or will they all just switch to Yummy? How do they not have Camellia? I don't know why. We've had that for a while, huh? Arthalion. Activate. Target 2 cards in grave. Mate. Will we veil or negate? Yeah. I don't want you adding back Engraver to make Fiendsmith plays. You play it into a Veiler. Eat it. Urgula set up the Rahu. As we have Urgula. Now, we had Droll for the Engraver when it adds the Tract, which was going to be very good. Femina is going to be fusing with the Malulu and Droll. Come forth, Gulamel in response to the Malulu to take out the back row Rahu before it activates. Very well done. Perfect. Let's set up our own follow-up play. Now we have the pressure that we have to deal with this. Normal summon Droll into Little Knight. Banish away the Kitu or the Gulamel. Well, I have Flame to negate the Kitu, but we didn't know about the Rahu. Activate the Kitu, which was the purpose of our Flame. Now, we do not have a good play with Femina. Even drawing the Ash is good. Just drawing into a generic good hand trap is what we'd want. Little Knight's going to chain banish the Lucius. We're going to hold on to the Ash, force something like a Rahu instead. Even though we're pretty close to a simplified game state, he, I think, made the correct decision of holding his Ash. Do not let Lucius eat your Ash. Rahu, Draco, Tail. Let's freaking do it. Negate. End the turn. Everything comes back. Now, I think even ashing the Lucius could have actually been okay because what's Rahu going to do, right? You have to fuse a Draco Tail plus a card in the hand. You have no card in the hand to fuse with. So either or, it actually would have been okay. But what would have not been okay is if they had Branded Fusion. But then I guess you're kind of screwed either way. You're negating the Rahu. But Rahu is only activatable if the other card in hand is not a Branded Fusion. So you got to take all these things into account. Where, yeah, that's how you got to think about it. Let's Veiler negate the Arthalion again, back to back, negating the Arthalion from returning cards on the field or graveyard back. Is this anyone's duel? Well, does not look like Abdo's duel. But commonly, we see a Draco Tail player looking to be the definitive victor, but then the other player just steals the duel somehow. They always do. Is this going to be that case? I'm looking in the graveyard. We have no Urgula to add back. We have a dead Urgula in hand. We drew into a late Maxi. This will not be one of those duels. Finish him. Nope. Cartesia activate, diffuse, chain, Maxi. We have no Ash of our own, but we can end on just this play. Let's add back 2 cards, trigger both the cards, just set up our traps. We're gonna be grabbing a Kitu at least. Even though we already have the Femina being added back to the hand, Kitu adding an Urgula. We're still fusion summoning. We're still committing under the max freaking C. Okay. Urgula and Lucius set 2 more traps. In response, they get to draw 1 more card. Urgula recycle back the Lucius. And let's talk about this field. Well, first, Femina versus Femina. The turn player who triggers Malulu will be on the lower chain link, thus we don't get to negate something that's being summoned against us. Now, Malulu already triggered this turn, which means it's not going to be good to even try to negate, obviously. But this is absolutely the correct response. They can't Gulamel pop the back row. That's exactly what you want to do. Well done. Now, what if they fuse with Pan and Urgula? Then you cry. Now, the Gulamel at least will not be activatable. It's not negated, it just can't even activate. Take out the Secretarion, take out all these publicly acknowledged cards. We know exactly where they are. Yeah, we knew where the Flame is, where the Sting is. It's in the duel log, it shows you. Cartesia, add back in the end phase. Now back to you. What do we have here? No Femina because we had to use it in response to their freaking Femina. We could return a monster back, banish from the graveyard. We could Gulamel, pop a card. Triple disruption, that's it. Urgula attempt to add back Femina. Sting is going to get rid of that. Ash is going to negate. Not today, mate. Oh boy. Horn and Gulamel is all we have left. And we have to have the Gulamel directly chained to the Horn. Horn is returning back Gulamel in response to the Key2 to ensure that the Key2 does not fuse on resolution. Sure. And surely, we're going to draw. I mean, we have Full Loss activatable now, but we're going to draw into a Femina. No. Okay. Ash is kind of okay. Femina fuse. Full Loss now activatable. And then we have the Ash for the Rahu. This worked out. This is great. Using away the Droll, we could have used Droll in response to them drawing, because now if they add Maxi on top of their plays, we're going to really wish that we had that Droll, that we're not even adding back to the hand. We're letting this resolve, and we're not activating Maxi. So the Ash will be able to negate Maxi, but maybe we're okay with that, because then the Ash is not negating our traps or our Rahu on the next turn. And if we were to Maxi early, then they probably were not making any other plays anyway. So it would have just been wasted. Yep, that ended up being the case. Veiler, Ash, Femina, Flame, Quadra Disruption. Not even attempting to negate the Cartesia. Target 2 cards in grave. Will we negate the Arthalion with a Veiler? Holy trigger effects in grave. We are in fact going to, instead of negating Cartesia, just negate what they will inevitably summon anyway. If their hand is good enough, that is. 3 more disruptions left. We already have the Flame ready to negate the Key2. But Key2 and Rahu. Now, Key2 is generally just a 1-for-1 search, but if they have a monster in the field, it's much better to try to negate it. Little Knight is going to be banishing away the Flame. Rip Flame. That is unfortunate. We really needed the Flame to draw into a monster so that we don't have to use the Ash to fuse with a Femina. Now Femina is not going to want to fuse an Ash. We could fuse into a Secretarion. But how do we fuse in a Secretarion? If we Femina to go in a Secretarion to floodgate him, he could chain Little Knight to banish away any of these monsters, and then we have to fuse with Ash. I don't want to fuse with Ash, so we're just in a really bad spot. Let's see what happens here. Ash negate, and now the Femina will just be illegal. This is what we wanted. By activating Little Knight early, we can now chain Femina to the Little Knight to ensure that our fusion summon will legally happen. Little Knight was pinning down Femina. She couldn't make a play because of Little Knight. Chain Maxi. Use it up into our Secretarion, and now we are floodgated. Special Summon Spellcaster and Dragons cannot activate. Unfortunately, we have some banished cards here, which self-reduces itself. Let's add back the Femina, and, well, Ash to stop Rahu. The activation's not negated, so the other Rahu is dead. Sting is a brick. Just take this into game 3. Chain Foolos to try to eat that Ash. Gladly eats it up as we then chain our Max freaking C. Let's do it. Always throw out the worst hand trap first. Very well done. And now, under the effects of Max C, Abdo was willing to fuse more than once under Max C, and it worked out well. Will Baldsy Yummy perform the same play? Will we commit to get that Gulamel to the field? Lame. Now, the problem is, if we commit another fusion summon under Max C, they're going to chain Foolos and draw not 1 but 2. Key 2 into the Femina. Nope. We're not going to be playing into that. We do have an Ash. We have Flame negate a spell. We have Pan destroy a monster. Malulu negate a monster on the higher chain link in response to them summoning something that would trigger. We have Femina fusion summon disruption. Let's go. All right. I should consider the Cartesia as a disruption since we can make use of an Arthalion and a Gulamel. Lucius negated by the Ash. I really don't like that Ash, but we do have Flame to negate Key 2 or a Rahu, but then Ash negates the Flame. Rip. So we're now down to 4 forms of disruption. Chaining our Cartesia. Use it up into Secretarion, whatever you summon. If you wanted to summon on the resolution of Key 2, you now will not be fusion getting the effect, not even activating. So we're just adding, we're not fusing. Setting up our own Key 2. Pan wipe away the Lucius. So we have Malulu, we have a Floodgate, we have Femina. Gulamel, which can't activate. Urgula is going to take out the Key 2 follow-up. Femina is going to be further setting up more traps since we already used up both of our spells. We used up Key 2, we used up Rahu. We're out of plays. Add back the Femina with no other spell to fuse with. That's going to be an issue. As we now fuse with Malulu and Arthalion into our own Gulamel, which can activate under our own Secretarion. Even though we're under Foolos, we don't care. We're going to take out the Dracotail Horn. Now, Baldsy should probably think a little bit. What would you be thinking if you were Baldsy? You'd be thinking that, one, they just added a Femina, and they didn't chain Femina to chainlink block my Gulamel. And that's either a choice or they don't have another monster in the hand. So you do want to possibly think about that. Now, in the TCG, it's more of a mind game. But in Master Duel, if their field did not light up at all, which it wouldn't, nothing in response to their effects, very quickly, unless he's very good with the toggle and he toggled off during this, if he had something activatable, you could very clearly see that he just has nothing. So that is now public, it's very close to public knowledge that these other 2 cards are not monsters and that Femina is not doing well. Which further means that we may not want to allow them to activate the Flame because it could enable the Femina. So maybe we just don't activate our Key 2 Dracotail. If we just stick to non-spells and all of these activations, their field's not lighting up. No light, no light, no light, completely lightless. He's either a master at the toggle or he's got nothing activatable, and this Flame is public knowledge, this Femina is public knowledge, and it's pretty damn close to public knowledge that these other 2 cards are not monsters. Femina come back. Oh, not Femina, Gulamel that is. And now we set up their Gula to take out that Flame. So Abdo's in big trouble. Very well done. And just like that. You know, it is a nuance of Master Duel that I think separates the great players from the good ones. Small details like that. Pay attention to their field lighting up. You can't fake the field lighting up. On Yu-Gi-Oh! Mega and the other duel simulators, you could fake it to the point of being really annoying. I'm happy you can't fake it in Master Duel. It just makes the game worse. Gameplay-wise, that is. Lethal damage. And then I think it adds an extra layer of skill to try to master reading their light going off and on, or then thinking maybe if they're really good with the toggle. Begin. 7th Tachyon. We do have a Ghost Bell. Ghost Bell does work against prayers. We have the ability to wipe away their field of monsters plus force them to discard a card. We do have, in addition to that, we could pop, 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 and then pop again if we pop ourselves and then reborn back. We could Purification, negate anything. 7 Disruption. Let's go. Rahu Draco Tail Purification is negating. Now, what's great about Purification is it negates the effect, not the activation, mate. Thus, the Rahu is not going to be activatable again. Abakiri triggering to search for a prayer's reborn back. Urgula's gonna wipe away the prayers, which is actually quite devastating as it's needed to wipe away their field. Wait, he allows it to be negated. Did not discard. Think he should have discarded. I guess, I don't know. It's like, oh, Ash stops prayers? Yeah, but we're tributing by cost. It's not an effect to tribute. It's still gonna trigger to reborn and wipe away the fields. Oh, I was confused. It was the second effect to add back. Okay, thank you. It was not pop the back row. I'm a bit under the weather today, thank you. Let's now Mirror Jade, non-target monster banishes here. We don't know what he's banishing. It could be the Murakumo, it could be the Detonator. Now, Detonator could detach to destroy itself, and prayers could tribute off the Murakumo. We could double dodge the Mirror Jade, and then Detonator comes back, and Murakumo comes back. Back to back, is that the play? We're not popping ourselves. Okay. Just let him non-target banish one of them. Sure. Goodbye to the Detonator. Reborn back the Laplacian. Surely this would only trigger on Xyz Summon, which of course it does, and this is it. Murakumo is going to be coming back and non-target destroying the entire opposing field. So how does this work? This will resolve an Infusion Summon, and then Malulu will negate the Murakumo, right? You're the turn player. Turn player is going to be the lower chain link negate. Murakumo is going to be the higher chain link wipe away the fields. Use it up. Arthalion. So you're going to activate both of these, and then the Murakumo is going to wipe the fields. That's it. Wipe it up. Clean it up. Wipe the fields. Lulu setting up a flame. Looks like we already went through the... did we not activate K2 yet? Mirror Jade in the end phase is ready to wipe away the opposing field to return back the favor here. Goodbye to... Gargolo? What are you doing? How'd you time out in the opponent's end phase? 7th Tachyon. We're not going to be ashing that. We're holding on to it as Ash is our only form of disruption. We have a monster negate. We have a negate anything. We have another monster negate. We can force them to discard. We can wipe away their field after a purification. Let's see what happens. Veiler. Negate the Albaz mate. We still have cross to negate and purification, negating the effect of a Rahu. I mean, it's public knowledge. Why even? Let's just... You discarded my freaking branded fusion. We could rip a card of the grave if you want to consider that as a form of disruption, that is. And we also have the Albaz diffuse the opposing field into a form of a disruption. The back row is going to be completely stopped by the red reboot, but beyond that, we do have an Ash Blossom and a fusion play with the Femina. Let's see what's good. Send the Aggregate to force out the early activation of Cartesia. We will oblige. We will fuse it up into... using the Arthalion and Cartesia going into a Mysterion, that is. Now, only an activated effect summoning a monster will it be able to trigger. So self-summoning Sword, self-summoning X-Ryzeal will not trigger the Mysterion to banish. Attaching the Aggregate. We now have the Cross ready to negate a monster effect. We got the monster locked down and we got the back row locked down. Let's Feral Imps. Attempting to Horn. Not today. Red, reboot. Traps are now illegal. Negate. And if you want to Ash, I will cross negate. Femina. We didn't chain the detonator. We're activating Albion, Sanctifier. Are we crossing something? Reborns the Arthalion and the Femina onto the opposing side of the field, sure. And we are cross-negating the Femina. Thus, the Ash will be negating the Imps or a potential other play here. I guess he was assuming he'd be going for Habakiri, summon Saji, then negate Saji with the Ash. All right. You cannot negate Mitsurugi Ritual, summoning a monster from the hand, even though it's sending materials from the deck because it's not sending, it's tributing. Wipe away the entire opposing field. Just like that, Mysterion, no good against a spell, activating to summon a ritual monster. Open field, didn't even get to use the Ash. Bro, I thought you were Femining so that you could Ash, right? I was like, damn, real smart. Got him to negate Femina so that he could Ash him. Let's go. Right, 1 or 2 hours. Damn. Red reboot just continually in the opening hand. It is semi-limited. Could Draco Tail get red reboot limited to 1? Is that even a reality? Gotta deal with the freaking Max C. Now, Baldzy Yummy is not one to overcommit into a Max C. He usually just does end. Now, what we have to deal with is not the traps because we're good on that. We got that red freaking reboot. The Arthalion's doing nothing. The Cartesia is the only issue here. Do we have a stop on Cartesia? We don't. Now, if they had Femina, we'd be able to finger it, but instead we could finger the Pan. If Pan gets fingered, and we're trying to summon something like a Gulamel, Gulamel's not going to be able to directly change the Pan, so you ideally were summoning an Arthalion to at least have something activatable as our form of disruption. Pan and whatever we fuse into are our plays. Now, we still have one more step before we have to start activating. If they flip up the cross, we got to do something. If they exceed, we got to do something. Or we can just do something right now. Let's fuse it up. Ilia Regis. Pan's gonna be attempting to wipe away a card, as we suspected. Call by the Grave, finger the Pan, and then Baldzy Yummy, I'm so sorry. Red reboot. It's unfair. There's no side deck in Master Duel. People are main decking this. What the hell? Negate. And negate. We still have Philia Regis to banish a card in the field. Banish away the Star Ryzeal. Yeah, she does return back to the extra deck. And we can use Droll. Well, we can't Droll this. We could Droll the Duo Drive since there won't be a material after it searches. But knowing that, we're going to make other plays while we have the Xyz materials of Duo Drive. And now we can't Droll at all. Rip. Completely countered the Droll. Habakiri summoned Saji, tribute off the Imps, grabbing a Ritual, still can't Droll. Tribute from the deck, summon the Habakiri, trigger Kusanagi to add back the Ritual, reborn out the Serpent. It's disgusting. The back row is completely pinned down by the red reboot. The one card in hand's completely pinned down by the cross. Gargolo gets to completely have his way with Baldsy. Reborn back, over 10,000 damage. It's a checkmate. You don't need to know it's on the hand. You don't need to know it's in the back row. It does not matter. All right. Red reboot's too much, huh? I guess here. If you're a Draco Tail player, good news. A lot less people, like dramatically, maybe no one is going to play Red Reboot by the end of this week. It's going to be gone. You can't Red Reboot against Yummy. It's trash. Bad news. We're going to trade Red Reboot for an untargetable Herald of the Arc Light. You're going to lose to that instead. Let's go. Bua Chain to the Fae Mina. Draco Tail in the category of Maxi and Full Loss Resilience. It's high. You are able to consistently set up multiple disruptions with only giving the opponent a single draw. That is a great part of this deck, mate. Veil or negate the Arthalion. Not today. As we now set up our Flame. Flame and Kitu, we are not done. We want more than just that play. Urgula, add back the Femina. This is the way. We still have a normal summon that we could do. As we Kitu, Draco Tail, grabbing ourselves a Lucius. We gotta be careful if we want to commit to another fusion summon, because if they add a Maxi or Full Loss on top of it, that is gonna be quite an issue. As we simply end on the ability to negate a spell. This time there's no freaking Red Reboot. And you also have to remember, if you're giving them another draw to set up more traps, you're giving them another chance to draw into a freaking Red Reboot. Now, Flame, Veiler, Pan Destroy a Monster, Femina Fusion, we got 4 disruption to play through. Let's go. Bua in the draw phase, thus the Femina can't chain to it. Prayers is going to get negated. Is it correct to negate Prayers over a Ritual, though? Okay. I mean, like, inevitably, the Prayers is leading into a Ritual play, right? Well, the Ritual ended up being dead, so it actually worked out well. Ritual needs a Ritual in hand, or at least 2 reptiles or a level 8 reptile to summon from the deck. We have neither. And they shouldn't have a hard opened up Ritual, but what they should have is a hard opened up Habakiri. That's more likely. So by negating the Prayers, we should have suspected a follow-up Habakiri, Saji, and Graves. He can't Veiler it, then they could Ritual from there. It just worked out. Good job. Lethal damage. All right. No draw phase Prayers. Saji, trigger, search. What if Gargolo's not playing Droll? You've got to be freaking kidding me. If you lose to Droll and you're not using Crossout to further negate a Droll, of course you're playing Droll. Negate it. Thank you. Even though Droll is not good against Draco Tail, at least for your Crossout, you got to. Habakiri, Kusanagi, completely undisrupted. Turn 1. Now the key 2 will be able to search and fuse on resolution. There's 2 really bad things about our hand, and it's the 2 bricks. The trap's no good, a second copy of the Rahu's no good. If you're not playing against a deck that can consistently negate the activation of the Rahu, making the other one activatable, then it's just useless. We need to draw into a monster also. If we draw into another key 2, like think of the amount of bricks that we could draw into that'd be really bad. Another key 2, another key 2, another Rahu, another trap, another trap. Let's see. What do we want? What do we want? How are we gonna break this field? Bro has, it's crazy that Purification does not negate the activation. That is gonna completely tank a key 2, a Rahu, a branded fusion. It does not matter. And then we have Ryziel Cross, which we can maybe Femina or a normal summon fusion. If they normal Malulu or Cartesia or Femina, you're like, that's like the 2 fusion enables that are going to be happening through the monsters. Late to the freaking party, but at least it's a monster we could fuse into. So it's not the worst top deck. It is better than a second or third copy of Key 2 or Rahu. Can we do something here? We effectively have 2 plays. 2 plays against negate anything, finger anything, negate any monster. We could then go into, I mean, what the heck? Is this going to be a Dynamundo? Return a card in the field back, unless it's a Little Knight, then it's a double banish. Could wipe away their entire field of monsters, force them to discard a card that's not really a disruption. We have pop, pop, pop. And in addition to the pop, 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 we also could pop again if we pop ourselves. It's 11 disruption if the Masquerena goes into a Little Knight. Okay, it's 10 because we don't play Little Knight. 10 disruption versus 2 plays. Let's go. Rahu? Oh, discard a card. Okay. I have plenty of bricks in my hand to discard. Not an issue. Urgula. Higher chain link the Urgula to threaten the cross. We're at 9 disruption now. We are targeting Detonator to bounce back. We are going to finger the Urgula to then negate the Arthalion, as we also, so we are fingering, returning. We just have key 2. This is it. Once we knew the Detonator was not popping itself, we knew the cross was being saved for it and that the finger would be used on the Urgula. And that is it. Purification. Negate the final relevant card. If that other card were a branded fusion, we still have the Dyna. We have pop, 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 3 pops because we could pop ourselves in the last pop, reborn back, then pop 2 more times. We have the prayers to reborn back the Murakumo while it's on the field, tribute it, and then reborn it back to then wipe away the field. Even branded fusion. We have so much more. We negated draw. That's it. This deck is too unfair if you don't have Droll. And a lot of people are not playing Droll because of Draco Tail. Dynamundo, bounce the horn, back into the deck, spin it, bounce it, pop it, whop it. Dynamundo, reborn back the Murakumo, non-target, wipe away the Arthalion, and just like that, Ryziel Mitsurugi takes it all in the final tournament before Yummy's release. Is there a universe where Yummy's not winning this Thursday? I mean, I would love that, like, DK's hyping up Yummy, and then Yummy sucked. How Yummy didn't even do well. Yummy didn't win. It's not even top 4, top 8, barely in top 16. No. It's going to win. It's going to dominate. It's going to be the best. It's coming this Thursday. It's being announced tonight. This is it. Draco Tail's final week, their final day of their reign of terror will come to an end, surely, this Thursday. Daradurn, the man, not playing Primite. not playing the Dominus engine besides Purge. We got the Retaliating Sea, and Fiendsmith is the way that he plays this deck. All right, good job. There's a lot of ways to play the man. Gem Knights. Gem Knights are on a mission to get a third card banned. They got Mjolnir banned, Christia banned, and now it's time to ban the Aurora Paragon. I'm not sold on this being broken yet until I see people clapping up with this. Yeah, they could normal summon, then destroy this, but the point is they then reborn it back with the About. So you're not actually outing this card by normal summoning. It will actually prevent you from special summoning the whole turn. All right. Good job, Chris. We then have Makonko. New Makonko 50-card deck. He is mixing up Makonko with the Psy Reflector engine in addition to the Diviner wanting to be a good normal summon. All right. A very important part of the deck is getting this out onto the field to then special summon a Makonko from the deck, as we have the new Makonko Shinbu, which makes the deck a lot more consistent. And I would say the new Xyz does increase the power ceiling of the deck. It was constantly it makes the deck more consistent and ending games. Game ender and setup. Very good. Now, we have Lunalight. May back. Good job, nothing too crazy. We are on double heavy polymerization. Then we have Mermail Atlantean. Hakimo, I believe, trying to benefit from the lack of Droll and Lockbird. And I do want to check how many people are on Droll recently. Mad Lad is on Barrier Statue. Water is not really meta. Onomat Raziel. We got the Barrier Statue of the Inferno. No Protos. We heavy slumped, which was fun to see. There is the extra deck and main deck. Protos is no good because of Draco Tail. Let's keep on going. Now, I mean, are we gonna bring back Protos? Light. Call Light with Protos? Is that how we deal with Yummy? Well, if Yummy wants to play with Mitsurugi, then that's gonna help play around the Protos if that becomes prevalent, so they don't get completely shut down. Raziel Mitsurugi. Double reboot, putting in a lot of work here. Malice, still doing well because it has a good matchup against Draco Tail. In addition to its inherently good matchup, we are also playing Red Reboot. Good job, Ohaimi. And then Murad. Jesus. Mitsurugi, Malice, 40 cards somehow. Dude has, what's that freaking, Cyber Sage and the rank 4 Xyz. Cybers, then makes Cybers Wicked, which then searches for backup, which bridges its way into Malice. What the hell? I'm very happy to have seen this. Good job, Murad. Alpha. We lost our White Rabbits and Allure of Darkness, so we put in 2 Signet Minings and 3 Achichis. The math, we lost 4 and we added 5 cards somehow. Okay. And then here's the extra deck. And then we'll take a gander at, we'll skim the Draco Tails over here. Let's see. Draco Tail. There are 6 of them. So these 6. Branded Fusion Winda, Branded Fusion, Fiendsmith, Branded Fusion, no Branded Fusion, and no Branded Fusion. That's the cutoff. Not a single player played Magistus within the top 16. 50% Branded Fusion. One out of 6 playing Fiendsmith. And let's now just cycle through their lists. Chugio, top 16. Let's go. All right. And that was the Winda Mad Lad. And here is another Branded Fusion. with Ricky in the top 4. P-Jim, second place with Fiend Smith. No branded fusion. Am I out of my mind? Was like, there was no branded fusion in the grand finale? Really? Okay. And then Bori. Bori on the branded fusion, top 16. And then we have Abdullah. Abdo is Abdullah. Y'all, why you guys gotta confuse? If you use your real name, I can properly remember who the heck you are. All right, and then Triff's pens are no match for this D, says Yusuf. What? All right, just randomly calling out Triff here, sure. And good job, well done, Yusuf. And this was last week, so this is gonna change. Yummy's gonna skyrocket. It's gonna take about 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half. Yummy is probably in the first tournament, maybe tier 3, possibly tier 2. It's going to shoot up.